Welcome to the Dynasty Football Key. Today we're going to look at a tier list for the 2024 rookie wide receiver class. Let's get into it. Okay, so to start at the elite tier, none other than Marvin Harrison Jr., son of Marvin Harrison Sr., taller and maybe faster than his father, who was a Hall of Famer at 6'4", 205. He's coming in as an elite prospect size and will be really tough matchup for defenders in the NFL. And Marvin should have a day one ability to contribute for an offense. He'll be starting in our lineups and hopefully putting up a lot of points for us. In the same tier, we'll go with Malik Neighbors out of LSU, wide receiver, 6 foot, 200 pounds, really good speed and ability to get open, good route runner, great hands, catches a lot of deep balls. He's got a really big playability, like what Malik Neighbors can do to help our teams here in 2024. Next, I've got one of the three Washington wide receivers, Rome Odunze. Man, I think I want to put him into this starter tier. I know he's going to be an immediate starter. There's some that like him over Neighbors. As far as elite, I'm gonna put him in this tier because I see him as a top 15 wide receiver in Dynasty. I think that can totally happen. For me, there's a lot of receivers that are wide receiver 2s that are in that range, but Rome's got that size that not many have, and he'll be able to really do well in the NFL. He was good at contested catches. We'll see if that translates. But this is a really good player that we should not be sleeping on. Next, in the starter tier, I've got Brian Thomas Jr. And, he actually has a lot of speed for someone that's 6'4", 205 pounds. There's a chance that he could actually also be a really good producer for us because he's got really big red zone touchdown ability, able to move downfield as a deep threat. So if he gets a good quarterback, I could see him having a really good role for us. Absolutely could end up ahead of a Rome or even Neighbors. But for me, with these tiers, as I mentioned in some of the videos, is there a scenario I'm taking Rome ahead of Marv? No. So I'm going to put Rome down here in the tier below. I don't necessarily see myself taking Neighbors over Marv, but there is a chance where Neighbors goes to the Chargers and, has an elite quarterback. There's not really a scenario I'm seeing where, Marv right now is getting projected to the Cardinals. That's a great quarterback that he'll be paired with. But if Neighbors got on the Chargers, then, I'd feel, I'm probably still taking Harrison, to be honest. Still, Neighbors, I just can't sleep on what he's been able to show on tape. And next, I've got Troy Franklin, wide receiver out of Oregon. Now, I think he also, because he has really good speed, really good hands, and good size, I think he can be a number one somewhere as well. He could end up as a number 2. That is possible. But he absolutely has the ability to be able to be a number 1 wide receiver somewhere. After that, I've got Keon Coleman, who right now I'm putting him as a starter. I just don't see a scenario where he's on a team and is likely drafted in the second round or higher and he's not a starter. I think he's getting slept on a little bit. Even though he was known for 50-50 balls and really the numbers weren't there, that he had all of those 50-50 catches completed like a Rome Odunze. Still, Keon Coleman is really good. I'm going to put him down here. I just don't see myself taking him ahead of guys ahead of him. So I'll have him in this backup tier. But again, this is more backup for your fantasy roster. So, maybe it'll take a little while to get some confidence to put Keon Coleman in our lineups. And next, I've got Xavier Worthy. And this is a player with elite speed, probably going to be the fastest in the class, will likely get drafted high. He has a catching problem, at least this past couple seasons, a lot of drops. His teammate Adonai Mitchell only had 1 drop, and he's really good. I think either one of these guys could get drafted pretty highly and get some opportunity. After that, I've got Ladd McConkey. I see him getting a starter role as well. And He's got good route running ability to get open and get the ball, so he could be a PPR type player where you're getting a lot of points for those catches. He's in that intermediary middle part of the field, maybe not going too deep down the field, but is a really good target for a quarterback to just move the chains. So maybe lower touchdown upside, but I definitely see him getting a lot of PPR points for us. After that, another Washington receiver, Jalen Polk. He produced pretty highly, and it's in some instances outproduced Roman Dunze. He can play, so just depends on what offense he goes to. Likely wide receiver 2 type. Just definitely someone we don't want to overlook here. And next, I've got Xavier Leggett. I probably have to put him in the development tier just because he only produced in his final season out of 4. And yeah, just not sure what his measurables are actually going to come out. Some of the information was changed at the combine, so he's actually listed as 6'1". So we'll see what comes out with the combine this weekend. Next, I've got Roman Wilson, who played very well at the Senior Bowl. He helped his team win a national title, and he played his role there. But it does seem like he can do a lot more than he did on the field for Michigan. There's more upside than we're going to be able to quantify since they just did not use him or any of the receivers that much. Next, I have Devontae Walker. And, a lot of these guys we may or may not be able to use. Devontae Walker, he's one of the faster receivers in the class, had a short season and didn't really get to build chemistry with his quarterback, but definitely had a lot of potential there. He had some drop issues similar. He's very similar to Xavier Worthy in the speed and the hands category. So we'll see how they end up. I could see both of them being in that backup tier or both of them being in the dev tier if Worthy, can't clean that up. Next, I've got Malachi Corley, and this does not have his name correctly spelled. But he's really good yards after the catch. I think number 2 in the league in NCAA yards after the catch. Jalen McMillan, wide receiver from Washington. He played that wide receiver 3 role. Right now, that's kind of how I see him in the NFL. Next, Brendan Rice, son of Jerry Rice, and he's got some good size. Just not super fast, but could be a touchdown threat in the end zone. I've got after that Johnny Wilson. And let's move through these. Johnny Wilson, he kind of outproduced Keon Coleman some games. Really big size. We just got to see if he's going to be a tight end or not. There's a chance he gets converted to tight end. I actually probably put Ricky Parasol ahead of him. And, again, this is more of a tier, so I don't have them in the exact ranking order. For Jermaine Burton in here. Jacob Cowing, Anaya Smith, Jamari Thrash, Malik Washington. He was number 1 in yards after catch. And, I think Jordan Whittington, he may go way later, but I saw him in the college playoffs and on the Texas team most of the season. He was always a reliable target, good hands, he can catch. We can only hold so many players on our teams, but I can see him carving out a role for a team, starting on special teams and then locking down a secure role going forward from there. But that will do it for me for this 2024 rookie wide receiver tier list. Let me know who I missed. Let me know who you think should be higher or lower. And I'll catch you in the next video.